Hi, everybody. Oh my goodness. This was just too funny, too funny, too funny. Um, I was just seeing Dee Dee has a podcast and he, I was just like, no, Dee Dee, please. Oh, he's like in deep in women territory in the viperous backstabbing witchery between women, and he's lost. See the look on his face? Okay. So anyway, what's funny about this? This is Tamara Nealy. So I saw her the other day on Gary Melton, uh Paramount Tactical. And he is just obsessed with Candace. Okay, he's even admitted that he didn't exactly voluntarily do all of this podcast on the Charlie Kirk assassination. Um, his thing is guns and all of that stuff, and he let it slip one time that like he hadn't done this willingly, that he had been told to do to get in there and of course do damage control, make sure that nothing got out of hand like Candace Owens has done. And so of course this is why he is, doing everything possible and just relentlessly attacking her. And he attacked Mitch Snow. I, defended Mitch Snow, and that's because I know, I looked into his case, and his son, is being abused by the mother. Now, this has got to stop. That we never believe a man if he's saying he's being abused or his children are being abused. This whole thing of all women should be believed. This is why I've been marginalized from the supposed women's rights. These are not women's rights organizations like National Organization for Women, uh, Majority Feminist Foundation, or Feminist Majority Foundation, excuse me, which are the two big ones in DC and in the US. Um, no, they're feminist supremacist organizations. They want a few power hungry women to rule the world. And this is why, uh, Hillary Clinton didn't win. And my Lord, thank God oh, we missed. As one journalist said, we missed a shot to the head with Kamala Harris getting in. Oh Lord, that would have been, as bad as Trump is, okay, we won't even go there. So yeah, we're in enough trouble as it is. So anyway, and everybody's squabbling. Like, you know, a little bit of patriotism here. No, it's all about identity politics and party politicking. And, Gary Melton is as I say, he's in there to assure that the interests of Trump are protected and defended. And in fact, Baron Coleman said earlier that Gary Melton had gotten a $200,000 contract just after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. So we see the conflict of interest there. Plus, he's earning a lot of money off of his podcast to boost. Because of course, this is a voice that the status quo, of course, needs. And the YouTube is just as much manipulating. Things have not changed from mainstream media. This is all being manipulated by corporate interests. I've been following the YouTubers If you look into when I started this, I started the deep state things. This was Steve Bannon and Tucker Carlson were saying that if we were going to avoid any wars, we needed a deep state. This is to get rid of the deep state. This was like a year ago. So of course you can see all of my videos as usual. They're not watched by anybody, even though I, I know a lot of like all of the oligarchs and all of the ruling elite that everybody complains about. I know them all, and they've canceled me. And this is I'm like, well, you didn't look at my videos. They were out there. You cannot say you did not know. My objective here is not to be liked by anybody. I couldn't give a shit. I want to see everybody in court. So as Megyn Kelly said, she's not the mother of the internet. Well, let me introduce yourself. Let me introduce you to the mother of the internet. Yo. I'm watching what people are doing because, I mean, for 20 years, I've been trying to get the journalists to expose what's in the Jeffrey Epstein files and then some. All the problems in family courts, child protection services, foster care, adoption services, and not just in the US. This is going on everywhere. When I go, my case is in Spain. When I got back to that, and I was thankful that I wasn't dealing with, small children who were being sexually abused. When I got to the States, I thought this would be, all of these nonprofits here in Washington. And I started knocking at doors, and all of the other victims turned activists said, don't waste your time. Welcome to the club. It's all a big con. So anyway, I've been preparing things for the international courts. We've got everything under crimes against humanity. There is a submission to the International Criminal Courts. All that's kind of sitting in limbo. However, let us take a look at this. So first we're going to see a little bit. Tamera Nealy is going to tell us a bit about herself on Gary Melton. And then we'll watch Dee Dee got a podcast reaction because afterwards I was like, oh God, I'm going to have to go and see what this woman is all about. And then I see Dee Dee, he was looking at her and I was like, oh no, too funny because his reactions are really funny. Really. Okay. So this is going to be an amusing one. Here we go. Because sometimes I got some videos that are pretty dark, but it's not because of me. Oh shoot, hold on. It's not because of me that they're dark. It's because the world is very, very dark at the moment. Okay, here we go.
I think that was the only season I've missed.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, she's a controversial figure, and I didn't realize how.
This from the
description below is our guest's biography. Area of study, if you will. He is extremely well known about this, especially when it.
This is the.
You can call it conspiracy theory, whatever you want, but it doesn't include destroying people's lives, which is always the best type of conspiracy theory. But without further ado, I want to bring on Tamera Nealy. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, Gary, and thank you for your service.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your service and everything that you're doing and your positive message on YouTube. And I really appreciate, and I'm taking notes, how you've addressed Candace. I think to some extent, I've gotten a little bitter. And I don't know. I always try to recalibrate that. And I hold her in contempt in a lot of areas, but that's not really what I want to talk about tonight. Tonight, what I wanted to spend most of our time doing is talking about you. I'd like to know who you are, what you're about. And if you will, take a few minutes and just talk to the viewers. Tell us who you are, what you're about, where you're coming from. And we'll just start there. And then I got some more questions for you. It's going to be an interrogation.
Oh, interesting. Well, my name is Tamera Nealy. I'm 23 years old. I was born in the great state of Oklahoma. Shout out to all the Sooners watching this, Boomer Sooner. I graduated from the University of Oklahoma in 2024 with a degree in economics. I also minored in communications while I was there. I got my start in politics when I was 16 years old. I started out as a page for President Pro Tem Senator Treat, the I guess highest senator in my state at the time. And I eventually went on to become a campaign intern for my current governor, Governor Kevin Stitt, when I was around 20 or 21 years old.
Wow.
I was around 20 at the time. And then when I was 21 years old, I got an exclusive interview with the governor, and I hosted him on my YouTube channel. And he's a great friend of mine. And what else do you want to know?
Well, I'm curious to know, like, you obviously got involved in politics really, really young. So, like, how did that come about? What made you decide to do that?
So when I was around 16 years old, I
just want to say I got involved at 17 years old, and I'm 63. Yeah, they're not putting me on any podcast, that's for sure. See, this is the thing. All of the young kids are given a voice because they don't want to give old ladies like me a voice. They're afraid of what we're going to say. But I love it. She's 24 and she's a celebrity.
Serving as a student superintendent advisory board member for my high school district, the district that I had been a part of for a very long time. And my superintendent said that he wanted to introduce me to a few people that he thought I should meet. So he introduced me to the mayor of my city, and he also introduced me to several senators, including the senator pro tem at the time, the president pro tem at the time. Mm-hmm. And the president pro tem said he wanted me to page for him. So that's what I did. I wasn't like very involved in politics before that at all. And he didn't require me to take a side or anything like that. He just wanted me to go through this program, get educated.
Okay. And I also worked for a senator. I interned when I was 17, came to Washington, and then worked for him for 5 years while I was in college at GW. Yeah, and I've been knocking at his door, and all of the Louisiana, this is Louisiana, Democrats, and I've been asking. His son is here at Steptoe Johnson. Let's see, Louisiana is Boggs. I want to see all of these senators in court. You see why they don't like me?
It represent him when it came to, being his page. And I got involved in politics when I was 18 years old. I had went to a Black Lives Matter protest and quickly found out that I was not interested in anything that the left was selling. I grew up conservative, but I didn't know it until that moment because we didn't have a lot of political discussions in my family until 2020. And so that was an eye-opening moment for me. And I was like, I have to tell everybody what I found out about Black Lives Matter. And so I looked on their website, just did a little bit of research and saw that they said that they wanted to dismantle the nuclear family and defund the police. They had just a full-on left-leaning agenda. And I felt like that was very evil. And so I just started posting on my social media. And eventually, shortly after that, the president of Turning Point USA, OU, reached out to me and said, hey, you're going to be a freshman this semester. And, when you're here at OU, we want you to come to a Turning Point USA meeting. And so I showed up at a...
Okay, I don't think Black Lives Matter actually put on the website they wanted to dismantle the family. I find that highly unlikely. How is that one of their objectives? I don't believe, like, consciously is that what they're accomplishing is another matter. Yeah, and Black Lives Matter, I was pissed off because the day that they were at this was Lafayette Square when Trump, I forget what the date would have been, but the day that Trump came through and he went to the church, the other side of Lafayette Square, and they had all of the smoke bombs and, oh, la, 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 this is his first presidency, and it was horrified, and that this had been violent, and this is what justified these smoke bombs. And I was like, you've got to be freaking kidding me, because I had left that demonstration 45 minutes before, and I know exactly that it was 45 minutes before, because I was walking into the house where I was living in Mount Pleasant, and it takes me 45 minutes to get up there. And they were going through Lafayette Square, and it was on the TV. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. I left that damn place because, once again, I go to these demonstrations. Hi, how you doing? Um, who's organizing here? Who's the leader? Oh, no. We were just told to show up. I mean, there's no organizer, there's no leader or anything. Ron Paul was another one that I went to as a libertarian one. I mean, I got, you get sick and tired of these things. No, we're here to show up, have a social event, take some selfies, post it on Facebook, and show everybody how cool we are. Of course, nothing, all of these demonstrations, it's a waste of money. And yeah, Candace, expose Black Lives Matter, the issues of where the money was going. We're seeing with TPUSA, it's all over the frickin' place. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, she did a hearing just before she left about all the nonprofits. Drain the swamp, get rid of them. And this girl is just a parrot. They call them grifters. Anyway, let's go on. But so,
a meeting, and at the first meeting, I was asked to be their campus coordinator. And so that was really fun. And I got to host, help. I didn't help as much on the Ann Coulter event, but that year, that semester, they hosted Ann Coulter, and I helped a little bit, but not very much.
Excuse me, Ann Coulter. Yeah. Okay, please, whatever you do, you can torture me, but don't put me in a room with Ann Coulter and Megyn Kelly. Please.
Much at all on that. But once the next semester came about, we hosted Charlie Kirk. And that was the first event that I was really like full on involved in. So I've been a part of Turning Point USA since I was 18 years old.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. So, you said that you kind of grew up conservative. I'm assuming your parents were Christians. Sounds like you grew up in a godly household, and you say they were conservative, but they never really talked about politics. I grew up in something very similar. My parents were we were UPC, so we were Pentecostal.
Same. We're Pentecostal as well. Just Church of God in Christ, but now we're non-denominational. But same.
Yeah,
right.
I go to a non-denominational church, but we were like hardcore UPC, and
okay.
Like
right.
I was going to a church school. We go to church on Wednesday. I was in twice on Sunday, and then my stepfather, he ran a newcomer, so we went to church on Tuesday.
Yeah, see, I'm sorry. I have respect for people's religions, but people who go to church all the time, this is one of the things that, in the United States are the people who are religious are so extreme and cold. I mean, you talk about the Middle Easterns, they're religious people being extremists. The United States, as I say, everybody should be respected in their religions, but these Bible frapping, I mean, that's what I appreciate Candace. I mean, she's obviously a Christian, but she doesn't, how should I say, not everything is let's pray. And oh my Lord, I have a cousin. She came to Washington. Every 3 blocks we had to stop and hold hands and pray. I mean, my siblings and I had a real laugh about the whole thing, but I wasn't laughing at the time.
Hey, anyways, our whole life was the church, and that's good. But I'm a little disappointed that we didn't have those political discussions growing up. And I think obviously that childhood definitely formed my opinion, but ultimately it wasn't until like the 2000 election that I really knew anything about politics or decided to get involved in politics. I was 20. It was the first election I voted in. It was Gore versus Bush at the time. And so that's where I went with that. But, with your family, why do you think they never talked about politics?
I just think there wasn't enough information available that was easy for everyday Americans to comprehend about politics at the time. Social media didn't really exist as much until I was probably in the 4th grade. And I still remember my parents having flip phones and my dad having a BlackBerry. So, they grew up in that sort of generation where you really didn't talk much about politics. Yeah. And for a long time, my dad voted Democrat, but then he started voting Republican. And my mom, from my understanding, she's always voted Republican. And so when it comes to my family, they just kind of voted and didn't really talk much about it.
Gotcha. Yeah, fair enough. Do you think that, when you decide to have a family, if you decide to have a family or whatever else, is that something that you're going to incorporate at a young age, talking about politics with your kids? Because I think it's really important. I've been indoctrinating my kids for as long as I possibly can. If we're not indoctrinating them, somebody else is. What's your thoughts on that?
That's funny. Well, that's good for you. First off, you got the guns right behind you. You're letting them know.
I don't believe in indoctrinating children. I believe in encouraging children to have their own mind. Yeah.
Oh, where their values lie, for sure. Very Pentecostal of you.
2 hours ago, they were up, both of my boys, I had 11 and 16-year-old, they were building a custom rifle right here on this bench.
And don't interpret that to mean go wild, because if anybody ever knew when my children were young, I was very involved with them, and you can ask any of the teachers or entourages. That doesn't mean letting them go wild. The kids, they never will. Everybody always, it's a difficult age. It's a difficult age. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's not a difficult age. I never met a problem child. I just met children with problem parents. Never a problem. And I work with some difficult children.
And so, yeah, they're getting indoctrinated. For sure.
That is hilarious. I just love how you said that, though, because I know how your church is, because I come from the same place. So I get it. We are very strong people. So I think when it comes to my children, I definitely would like to share my political perspectives with them and teach them to be a free thinker and teach them about conservative values. When they're really small, I would like to subtly teach them. And as they get older and they can understand, I do believe they'll be able to put 2 and 2 together, but I'll make sure they know the correct information. I want them to have a great childhood and to experience being a kid, playing outside and, all those things. But I also understand how important it is to share our political beliefs and our Christian beliefs with them, because we are living in a pivotal time in our history. And
okay, I just want to stop here. Also, notice how, particularly how we're seeing this with Erica Kirk and the talking points, and she has this dialogue, and she's living in this fantasy land. It's what you have to understand with all of these different groups, and particularly, with the young are more easily influenced. That's why they're being given preferential treatment and given a voice, and all the old ladies like me are being shut up. The old hags, the old bull hags. So, but she's memorized these talking points of how you're going to have it all, because you'll find these young people. If somebody had asked me about, well, I'm going to try and be the best mom I can, I don't know. It's just like, I'm going to teach them these, but then I'm going to transition when they get older and be teaching them more values or more complicated things. Once you've had children, I don't know, this just doesn't seem normal. And I certainly didn't speak like that when I was in my 20s. I was like, yeah, I want to have kids.
It seems like everywhere I turn, new left-leaning, evil, demonic information is being pushed out to the public. And so nowadays kids are, I guess, more so on social media at younger ages. And so I want my kids to have enough information to be able to critically think and know what's right. So I think my parents did a good job of that. My mother did a great job of that. She really encouraged us to be free thinkers, and she really talked to us about freedom a lot. You know, she gave us free will to make a lot of decisions, but she also taught us a lot about morality. So I would like to have a healthy balance with my children as well.
Yeah, no. Yep, that's...
We'll see. I don't agree with her about her moral character.
I think all kids should have shot collars. That's what I think. No.
That is hilarious.
You know, like you said, I literally see whether it's a restaurant or even at church sometimes, you see like 2-year-olds, and they're on YouTube just scrolling shorts, you know, just boom, boom, one after another. And yeah, we're at such a like you said, a pivotal point where these kids are being indoctrinated at such a subliminal level that I don't think we really even appreciate it. And it's so important to be aggressive with that. And again, you know, I've been talking about it a long time. If you can get your kids in homeschool, you know, we're in a small area in West Virginia. We're about an hour and a half from DC, but
yeah, okay. So first, they're all on these machines and everything. That's a part of that. Well, apart from Steve Jobs and the techie liberalism and just, you know, produce anything without thinking about the consequence, but it's also because moms are off with their careers having it all. And then he's going to get into this homeschooling stuff. Everybody's homeschooling. Another issue I have with these trad wives and these conservative women who said that they're the trad wives. This is Erica Kirk all over again. Homeschooling? You're not happy with the public school? Shit. Oh no, I'm just going to homeschool, and who cares about what's going on in my community? Get your ass over to the PTA. If you stay home, this, you know, we can go over and over and over again. This is this article. It's how homemakers help the economy. Basically, women moving into the labor market increases GDP by 30%, but what you're doing is work that was previously done by women in the home and family, wives, mothers, grandmothers, aunts, and the work that they did for free wasn't taxable. Well, now they've just made it into a job that's taxable. And a trad wife, this whole stuff about, oh, don't worry, stay home with your kids, and then later you can opt back in. Yeah, well, I gotta watch this. Oops. Not as peachy as it seems. Huffington Post. I wrote a blog about that. Oh, come on, where'd it go? Opting back in. Okay. Opting back in, not as peachy as it seems for the divorcee. And, oh, don't tell me I'm going to have to. No, I don't want to. Oh, no, don't tell me you have to pay now. Oh, Lord. Well, if you have to pay, I'm not going to pay. So anyway, it's there. Not as peachy. Opting back in, not as peachy as it seems for the divorcee. That was 2014. I was still working at the IMF. Anyway. Oh, la Lord, it's freezing. Oh, mess. Okay. Oh, there. Shit. Okay, it closed. So anyway, yeah. So this whole stuff. The homeschooling, this is not a good trend by any means.
Pretty small area. Schools are good except for the high school. And so my high school son, he is homeschooling, and my now 12-year-old, he will be homeschooling once he gets that age, but he's enjoying his friends, and he does the middle school here is actually really good. So what made you get into social media? Was that just because of what you were doing politically and with TPUSA? You saw that as another platform. Like what made you decide to go in that direction?
I was just at the time when I first, I guess, entered the political space at 18. I was mainly just posting on Instagram. And eventually I moved over to YouTube, but I started my show back in 2023, I think it was, on my 21st birthday. I hosted a launch party. And I just kind of started talking to people on Apple and Spotify at first, just to kind of warm up to, I guess, communicating with people outside of real life experiences. But I wouldn't say that I was like a super active person on social media. Like I wasn't like a big TikToker or anything like that. I was just putting myself out there a little bit. And I noticed that the listeners were very much so engaged. And when I missed like an episode or I didn't post for a couple weeks, I was getting a lot of messages and people asking me like, where am I? And like, they were really, really getting attached. So it was kind of one of those situations where I was like, okay, this is interesting. Like at first I was just in my closet recording audios, and now, you know, it was really interesting to me. And so I was watching The Bachelorette, one of the Bachelorettes go through the process, Rachel Lindsay. She's a well-known Black Bachelorette. I'm sure you've heard of her. She was the first ever one on the platform.
I think that was the only season I missed.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, anyway, she's a controversial figure, and I didn't realize how politically involved she was and all that at the time. But,
Yeah. He's being facetious there.
but I really liked her storyline, and I was following it, and I found out that her and Brian Abasolo got divorced. And I found this out on January 1st of 2024.
I didn't think they would ever get divorced, to be honest with you. I'm just, I don't
Oh my gosh, I'm like, yeah. I was like, wait, hold up. I thought you said you didn't watch it. Well, anyways, some of the audience may be aware of this, you know, particular season.
Keep going.
But anyway, so I was like,
Yeah, I'm sure Gary's sitting there going, God, what the frick am I talking about? The Bachelorette? I podcast.
heartbroken. Like I'm telling you, like my heart was completely shattered over this. Like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe they got a divorce. So once they announced it, I was like, I have to say something. Like I have to say something because I had just watched an interview that Rachel Lindsay did with this other podcaster, and she was saying some things that at the time I saw as an issue. And so I was like, maybe this is what led to her divorce because she was talking about XYZ. So I just made a 7-minute video on YouTube and it got like 20,000 views or whatever. So I was like, you know what? I think I'll move my show over to YouTube. And so I started posting more on YouTube that year. And so we've been like very active on YouTube as far as the Tamera Nealy show goes since 2024.
Awesome. No, that's great. Look, you got, like I said, I only got to watch one of your videos so far. I'm going to watch more of them, but I thought it was great. And look, you know, I don't know about you, but when I first started in YouTube, I was very, like, I'm a perfectionist. I like everything done right. I knew nothing about cameras or video or audio or whatever else. You know, keep doing exactly what you're doing. What you're doing is great. Your message is great. And, you know, don't get caught up in production and things like that. Stick to the message that you have. That's my only advice with that, because you're doing an excellent job. And, you know, and the same thing, I've been telling people I'm on this tirade. I'm telling you people out there in the comments, because we got some extremely awesome viewers. You guys are based, you're smart, you're intelligent, you're not Candace followers. So like, you got a lot going for you in the world. And man, you guys got some opinions and things that you can share with the world that will be impactful. And I'm telling you, some of you that are thinking about it, and we appreciate when you support us, but you know, if you have that on your heart to like go start a channel, to start an audio podcast, whatever it is, like go do it. And just know it's going to suck at first. Like you're going to fail. You're not going to get the views that you want right away. It might even take months, years. But stay at it. Like the only way that you'll fail is if you quit. So
It might take you years. I don't know. You might want to look at another way to make money if it's going to take you years.
and I've told you guys in the past, matter of fact, somebody just emailed me the other day, and I'm going to follow up with her. You know, if you guys need help or guidance or anything that I can do to help you with that, same thing with you, Tamera. You know, if there's anything I can do to help you guys get your messages out, let me know. That's what I want this channel to be about. And that's why I brought on so many, you know, smaller creators. I love doing it. I love boosting people that are worth boosting. Bronson, I don't know if he's in the chat today, but one of the things he always talks about is, you know, he's tired of these people that shouldn't be famous being famous. And I agree with him. I think there's so many other people out there that have a much better voice than these people that have millions and millions of followers. And so if there's anything that we can do, again, to help you, Tamera, or anybody in the audience, let us know. Speaking of which, I am trying to keep a little bit of an eye on the comment section. Folks, like always, what we will do is Tamera and I will talk, and then I will definitely prioritize super chats, and we'll still get some lives in there. If I see something that really grabs my attention, there he is, freaking Rage Bronson, over there lurking.
Yeah, I've met him before, actually. We were on Jay Witt's podcast together a while ago.
Well, he's going to ask you a question, so we might as well get out of the way right now. So,
okay.
French toast with peanut butter. What's your thoughts?
I've never tried it, so I don't have any thoughts.
We're going to try it Monday. I'm going to do my best, Bronson. We're going to get it up here and do it on French toast with peanut butter. That's his message to the world. Everybody should be eating French toast with peanut butter.
That's hilarious. I love it. That sounds good, though. I would try it if I had the opportunity.
It sounds like something communists would do, but we'll try it. So you get into YouTube. Like, what was? I'm assuming like you're involved in TPUSA. What year was that?
I started school, I think 2020 is when I went to college. So yeah, I got involved in Turning Point in 2020.
So that was right after Candace left TPUSA. She left in what, 2019? She was there from 2017 to 2019. Mm-hmm. 17 months exactly thereabouts. Not a full 2 years, Candace. So I'm not keeping track. I'm keeping track.
Yeah, me too.
So you get into TPUSA. Like, what is that like being involved in the like campus TPUSA?
So before I say that, I should probably make it clear I'm no longer an employee of Turning Point. I haven't been an employee of Turning Point since I was in college. Okay. I just want to make people aware of that because, you know, a lot of people say you're receiving $7,000 or this or that. And so let me just start off by saying that. But anyways, back to your question, what is it like being like a campus coordinator or working in Turning Point USA? Well, Turning Point USA has changed quite a bit since I worked for them because Turning Point was a way smaller organization back in 2020. That was kind of the starting point of their rise. And so I can't tell you what it looks like today, but when I first worked for Turning Point USA, a lot of what I was doing was encouraging students around my campus to get involved in the organization. So I would host quite a few tabling events. That was so fun. So that was like my main job, was coordinating tabling events and things like that. And so, and of course, helping when speakers came.
When you're on campus there, that's a paid position, huh?
It was, yes.
Oh, wow, okay.
Mm-hmm, to be a coordinator. Now, not every position was paid. I think I was the only person who was actually paid during that time. The president was a volunteer. The vice president volunteer. I was the only person who was technically an employee of Turning Points.
And so what was your experience like with that? Was it generally good? Did you have a good time? Did people treat you well? How did Turning Point USA interact and treat, you know, the campus, the Turning Point campus, whatever that's called? I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, I had a great experience. My higher up, his name was Victor. He was just very, very kind to me. And he knew that I was a Black conservative and he saw how people were treating me on campus. And I feel like he really did a great job of making me feel like I had a place to call home. Mm-hmm. And I think Turning Point USA, when Erica Kirk, like a lot of people hear Erica Kirk say, Turning Point USA is like a family or this or that. It really is like that. At least it was when I was really a part of it, especially when Turning Point was way smaller. Like it was a very small, close-knit community. Like everybody was close to everybody. And so I feel like the higher ups did a great job of connecting with me and even the president of my club and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And also Turning.
Okay, this is interesting. Let's see, when did they get married? Charlie get married. Okay, in 2021. So this is before, this is right.
Turning Point USA took it a step further with me, and in 2021 they flew me out to SAS and they paid for everything. Except for my food. That was like the only thing I had to pay for. But yep, they paid for my flights. They paid for my hotel, everything. They called me through Victor and said they wanted to invest in my activism. And Alex Clark, who is a Turning Point USA contributor, actually shouted me out on Instagram that year. I was experiencing a lot of backlash for coming out as a Black conservative. And she was so kind to recognize me. And so many people, so many warm-hearted, good-hearted conservatives came to my defense. And it was just beautiful. And that's why I love Turning Point USA so much, because of the memories, the experiences that they allowed me to have.
And so you felt like communication and coordination from TPUSA headquarters to the college chapters, or at least in your experience, was well done, well organized.
You know what, something is interesting, because I did reach out to, well, Isabel Brown. She's with TPUSA and she's doing like mom podcast and thing. I reached out to her. I said, oh, this is wonderful. You know, I've been doing a lot of research on the feminists, the problems that the feminists have created, you know, but it's just like with the Phyllis Schlafly Eagles and Ed Martin. I mean, I've gotten it from the left as well. And Riley Gaines as well, I reached out, and TPUSA as well, I reached out. You know, but no response. You know, so see, they target a certain profile of what they're looking for and puppet that they're looking for.
And like, so what type, I mean, obviously you would have big events where Charlie would come in, but like, what were some of the regular events that you guys were doing there on campus?
Mainly at the time, we were just doing tabling events. So we were just, you know, hosting different tabling events where maybe we would ask the students questions and, you know, like whatever we decided to do. I mean, it's been a long time since I did this. I mean, I graduated from college 2 years ago, so I can't tell you every little detail. Sure. But that's kind of what we did. And we also hosted meetings where Turning Point USA would give us free pizza.
Well, not every single detail, but I mean, you would usually have, or at least I would have stories. Well, there was one, one of the subjects that we often talked about with them were da da da. I mean, this is somebody who was not paying any attention to what was going on around her. If you did something like that, as I say, you would have, well, on this occasion, or we often spoke about this or whatever.
And we would talk about politics. We even watched, like, I think some presidential debates and stuff like that year. So it was, I mean, we did stuff like that, just hung out together. Nowadays, Turning Point is a lot larger. So they have a lot more money, a lot more opportunities to do different things. But that's kind of where we were at that time, just a small OU chapter. OU Turning Point USA did not look how it looks now. Like, if you check out the university.
I am sorry, when I was this age and if you had gone to a presidential debate or something, you would even be expected to, well, they were talking about this or that, or have some sort of input about the content of what you were doing.
Of Oklahoma's Turning Point USA Instagram, you can see that there are thousands of people involved now. That's not what it looked like when I was there. It was much, much smaller.
Well, that's awesome to know. And especially in these universities where, like, I think, Oklahoma is a very unique state, like a lot of deep red states, which Oklahoma obviously is. But even in these deep red states, you go to some of these state universities, they're just Democrat, communist, socialist bastions where you have these people that are going there and they are just dyed-in-the-wool liberals for the most part. When I hear about TPUSA establishing a large footprint and being visible and being active on a university like that, I think the impacts of that can't be overstated, because there's a lot of great, conservative kids that grow up in conservative homes that go to college for 4 years, and because there is no alternative exposure to conservative. Everything is leftists and Democrats, and like just having it, I bet it has such an impact on the state itself, as well as just a lot of kids either becoming conservatives, being able to see those other options, or staying conservative.
Conservative universities should be conservative. If they're not conservative these days, that's an issue there. Now, I do agree that, for example, my alma mater, GW, is totally out of control. And I want to see him in court. I got 6 departments I want to see in court, but I can't find a freaking lawyer to take him to court. Georgetown's the same. I mean, all of the universities in Washington are the same. That comes under the nonprofit. I want an investigation, but I can't get any of the politicians get up their ass and do it. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene.
If that option wasn't there.
For sure, I agree. And I think also 2020 was such a turning point in American history, obviously. And so that's why Generation Z is so conservative, is because we were locked down. We did not have high school graduations. We missed out on a lot of opportunities. And so Gen Z took its power back and said, you know what, we're not going to vote for you leftists because we don't agree with what you're doing. And so I think once you have experiences like that, how could you ever become a Democrat? Like, that just wouldn't be an option. I think President Trump has done a great job. And one thing I really like about him is he is such a great masculine leader. And that is something that someone
he's done such a great job. Oh, Lord.
Like Kamala Harris could never be. And so there is value in having Tim Walz. No, he's, yeah, no. I think Nick Shirley is dealing with him enough. And he's learning his lessons for sure. He's not going to be running for governor anytime soon at all, actually. So a fellow Gen Zer put him in his place. So there's that.
No, that is good. Now, here's the other question for you that I never really thought of, because sure. I had always known that, like, TPUSA is out there doing what they're doing at college campuses. Mm-hmm. But I guess really being able to envision it the way that I am now, just based on your description of what's going on there, I guess I never really had that epiphany. If Turning Point, because look, to me, it's very clear. The op here is to get rid of Turning Point, to destroy Turning Point. Mm-hmm. And it's in a couple other objectives that are all piled into this alleged investigation by Candace Owens and all of her surrogates. If Turning Point wasn't there, what would, Oklahoma State University, what options would they have besides the leftist propaganda?
They would have the college conservative, or not college conservative, college Republican group. But that's about it from my understanding. So, I mean, Turning Point USA is very much so the beacon of hope for college students. And that's why it's so important to preserve what Charlie created, because he really did a good job. I met him. I didn't know him as well as a lot of other people, but you could see his humility in every interaction. And he was a very kind man. He had a good heart. And so I hate to see what people like Candace Owens are doing to his reputation and his legacy, because I think he really...
Okay. First off, the whole thing, it was important. She said the only other option would be the Republican conservative groups. Well, obviously they were not responding to the, how shall I say, the need and the market for a conservative Christian group that was filled by TPUSA. And see what she was saying about Charlie. He was very, very kind, very, very kind. Um, and that she doesn't like what Candace is doing to his legacy. I mean, the girl is completely brainwashed. We'll see with Dee Dee get a podcast afterwards.
He fought hard to preserve that to the very end. I remember watching a debate that he hosted on a college campus, and somebody with disabilities came up and said that Charlie offended them because he said something, I can't remember what it was, but they felt offended by it. And he went above and beyond to first apologize for even offending them. And then he made them feel so good. And that's how much he cared. And he took his reputation serious. He didn't want people to feel like he was some evil person. He wanted them to know that he cared. And a lot of people thought he was evil because they don't like the truth. And to them, the truth is evil. But he himself went above and beyond to be good-hearted and kind-hearted. And I think that's why a lot of people reacted the way they did when he passed away, because he wasn't, like a lot of, or some other conservative influencers who spend a lot of their time building their own image. He was about building the kingdom of God. And I saw that transformation through him. Just even from 2020 to 2023, he was so different. Like I remember, I would say 2023, 2024, I saw a shift in him. I think it was 2024. No, 2023. He gave a speech at AmFest that was really powerful. And he basically said, "Here I am, Lord, send me." And that was like one of his most famous speeches now that people refer back to. But I was there. I watched him give this speech. And I'm telling you, I saw a move of God in him. It was like no other. I mean, this man was full of the Holy Spirit. And the reason why I mention it being a transformation, or I hope that's the right word. The reason why I mention it like that is because when I first joined Turning Point USA, he was not really focused so much on faith. The organization was not focused on faith. It was more so focused on free market capitalism and limited government. But once Turning Point added the faith element to it, that's when it exploded. And then I'll never forget meeting Erica Kirk. I was there when he first introduced her to all the Turning Point USA students. It was back at YWLS 2021. And I met her, and she did have that sort of big sister feel. If you met her during that time, she really embraced you. Like the hugs that people are saying that she's giving and all that stuff, that's really a part of her personality. Like she's very much so big sister, warm, kind. And I even saw her transformation over the years. And she
let me just say one thing there. I have been canceled for 18 years now by the hug, kiss, okay? You can even listen to Lady Harvey when she talks about when she goes back to Benetton. I haven't been back to Foxcroft, but that's, that if I was back there. But they certainly don't want me talking about any of the corruption. So as long as you are maintaining the facade, hugs and kisses and oh my dear, it's so good to see you. We haven't seen you in so long. Oh, my Lord, do I know this story? And I've been canceled by everybody. And on both sides of the pond. I mean, believe me, the list is long. You can go onto my activism website. I went to Foxcroft School in Virginia, Cobham Hall in England. So that's a lot of ruling elite. And then, of course, living in Europe and Bogota. So, as I can say, these are all these hug, kiss, just like Erica. But you get out of line, ciao. It's one of my favorite is Anne Woodward. She was one of the Capote swans. She was the one who killed herself by cyanide. She had killed her husband. She shot her husband. It was covered up by, with the assistance of her mother-in-law, by the police in order to avoid a scandal because her, her mother-in-law was, oh Lord, this would be a scandal. They had been dining with Wallace Simpson and Edward VIII before that. So she shot and killed him. It was covered up. Then that's when the whole Cote Basque, Truman Capote came out with the story. It was a fiction, but everybody knew who was talking about. And she became a persona non grata in New York high society and killed herself with a cyanide pill. See lots and lots of hugs and kisses when you're behaving yourselves.
Followed me on Instagram at that point, but as they became bigger and her audience obviously changed, I stopped posting as much for a while. I think she just forgot about me because time went on and I hadn't seen her, but she really does have that big sister personality. So I wasn't surprised by some of the messages that people were freaking out about. Like certain things about Erica Kirk, I'm not really surprised by because I've met her. Like when she first came out and gave her first speech after Charlie Kirk passed away.
Mhm.
When she gave that speech, before she gave that speech, I already knew it was going to be powerful.
The thing is Erica Kirk is just a new Meghan McCain. And Meghan McCain, I'm originally from Tucson, Arizona. The McCains have been in the cover-up for a long time. Andy Biggs, okay, it's not the Biggs family that I know, but it's still the Biggs family of Arizona, and that's a real see. Arizona ruling elite have been just as much covering up all of the shit as Louisiana and Florida, I know as well. Northern Virginia through Foxcroft and DC. I came to DC originally in 81. I know a lot of people in this town. I can barely get a minimum wage job because I won't play nice and be a parrot like this little girl. Ugh.
In the sense of she was going to say words that would hit home, like she was going to be the way she was. I knew that because I saw her speak before and I know how she talks.
And
but
this goes beyond skin color, anything like that. As in, here, where is this? White trash. As Nancy Eisenberg explains, Americans have interpreted class to mean the accumulation of wealth and privilege, and that's not class. Class is how you treat others and how you behave.
World didn't know Erica Kirk. To put it in perspective, this past America Fest 2025, 80% of the attendees were all new to Turning Point. So most people do not know Turning Point.
Yeah.
So the family that Erica Kirk is talking about was real, and it probably is still real for a lot of the people who are in that close-knit group. Turning Point has become so big, so I can't say that the culture hasn't changed because it has. Charlie Kirk is no longer here, and it's gotten bigger and bigger over time. So I can't speak to where Turning Point is right now at this moment, but historically, Turning Point is family. So
well, I just want to clarify for the sake, because look, people watch the show and they will, and they do, they intentionally cut portions out of the show and they'll twist it around. So I just want to clarify the record. When you say some of the things that you hear about Erica that people are saying, you're talking about the positive things. You're not talking about the slanderous things.
No, not the slanderous at all. I'm talking about just certain ways that they misinterpret her actions or how she comes across or whatever. If you don't know her, then maybe you could assume things. But if you've met her and you've seen her over the years, then you understand her more.
Gotcha. Yeah, fair enough. No, going back to even what you were talking about as far as, number one, most of the people that are covering Charlie Kirk, and definitely the vast majority outside of Candace, by the way, the vast majority of people that are covering Charlie Kirk and are making a lot of money off of a lot of this slanderous nonsense, like they didn't know Charlie Kirk. They didn't follow Charlie Kirk before he was killed. Most of them hated Charlie Kirk, like Ian Carroll and Ryan Matta and all these other people. They were taking him, they were calling him all these horrible things in the comments long before he died. And then suddenly after he died, now we want to get to the bottom of who killed Charlie Kirk while we hijack his corpse and use it.
I'm going to be fact checking that. I doubt Ian Carroll. Ryan Matta, perhaps, but I doubt it. Ian Carroll, I really don't think that they were saying anything about negative about Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to fact check that one.
For our own means and, the whole hate Israel first crowd. But I do remember you were talking about how Charlie was very careful about his persona and his image and how he treated people. And, as someone that consumed a lot of TPUSA and Charlie Kirk content before he was killed, I always watched that. And that was one of the things that he did such a good job. He was not a divisive, his speeches were not divisive.
Mm-mm,
Now,
not at all.
when he was killed, one of the things, the first, I don't know, probably a week or so before we started getting crazy into the conspiracies, like the first week, all I was doing was going around like addressing these little clips that they were cutting out. Like, for instance, there was one about, Chink Yeager, and where he's like, Chink, he was yelling at Chink in the crowd. Have you ever seen that clip?
I don't think I have. No.
Anyways, people were saying that he was talking to an Asian person and actually saying chink, calling this, that's what they were trying to frame this as. And it was it was intentionally, just dishonest as could possibly be. And there was a lot of things like that where they were going around. It was the left that was saying, we're actually glad he's dead. And then it turned, now you don't hear the left at all attacking Turning Point USA or Charlie Kirk. Now it's all the right. And I think most of these people that are saying they're the right are actually the left, but I digress. But you're right. Like, he had a very positive message. He was extremely non-divisive.
Mm-hmm.
You had to take him out of context to turn anything that he was saying into some sort of divisive message. He was very stern and pushed back against what he thought were lies, like the mental illness of trans activism, and that we were being pushed, that this was being pushed upon us. He was pretty straightforward where he said with LGBTQ, hey, I'm not going to judge. This is what I think as far as the Bible goes. But he was very inclusive with all of that. But he just wasn't going to allow lies to go by. And I think that go by unaddressed. And I think that's where we're at with all of this. I am curious. So, you had your YouTube channel. What was it that made you want to start? Because look, this is a big step. When you start putting yourself out there and criticizing Candace Owens, that is not for the faint of heart. And I think that everybody that knows what's going on, you pretty much know what's going to happen to you, and you are going to be attacked on every avenue of approach possible. So what was it that made you want to step out and start talking about some of the things that Candace specifically was doing?
Well,
because it would get her lots of attention, just like you said. For some people, it doesn't matter what they're saying about you as long as they're talking about you. For other people, more discreet, they prefer to remain outside of the news.
This dates back to what I kind of talked about in my video, what happened with Kimberly Klacik. I never really took a position when it came to, at least a hard position when it came to Candace before Charlie, but I noticed some things that she was doing throughout the years, but I still have had respect for her work enough to not really say anything. I didn't think that she was being malicious in some of the things she was doing, but some of the things I thought she was. But when Charlie Kirk was assassinated and she came out with that first video and she said basically that Charlie Kirk she was urging him to take the next step, and he was attending mass and he's doing all these Catholic. I don't remember how she phrased it that first time, but I was like, what? Like, that doesn't add up to me. And so that was my first red flag for Candace, because I was just like, at least most recently, she said some things about Jewish people that I didn't like before that too. But that was, as far as Charlie goes, that was like my first moment where I was like, I want to say something, because I knew that Charlie was an evangelical Christian, and that's how he presented himself. And I knew how important
he literally declared that. And talked about that specifically moments before he was killed. Yeah,
I know. And so I thought that was very important to, speak out against. So I was actually one of the first people to speak out against Candace before a lot of people actually came out and started saying that they disagreed with her. If you go back in my history, it shows that. And so I was also the first YouTuber to release that Brandon Tatum had spoken against Candace Owens. And that video has almost 150,000 views. So I was speaking out against Candace before it was popular, because at the end of the day, I cared about Charlie. And I felt like it was disrespectful to host a live and say, quote unquote, new information about him that the public wasn't even aware of. And he never said that publicly. And it was like, why are you doing that? That was inappropriate. And how she mentioned Israel, and she was already starting to speculate that they had something to do with it. And then she came out with the letter theory and all that stuff. I was just like, okay, I see what you're doing here. You're trying to attach yourself to Charlie because he's trending his, obviously after he passed away, he gained millions of followers on X, like his name was trending. Yeah. So weeks and weeks. And she's a person who attaches to trendy topics. So she had a connection with Charlie as far as her past history. So in her mind, it seemed, or at least how she presented it to the public and how I interpreted it, she felt like she could do what she was doing. And she ended up attaching herself to the story and making it her own. And so now, even up until today, she's making it seem as though the people who, like the Trump administration, had something to do with Charlie Kirk's assassination indirectly, even to today, when she mentions Iran, and the tweet that she made earlier. I can't quote it directly right now.
I think it's pretty much common knowledge that the Trump administration is involved. I mean, the way that the FBI has completely not even just not investigated, but have been caught interfering inappropriately. I mean, see, come on, little girl.
I could pull it up.
Charlie was the first casualty in the war of Iran.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. You know, every issue that's important to her, she's attaching it to Charlie.
And this is the thing. If she really cared so much about Charlie Kirk, she would be, wait a second, what's going on here? None of this makes sense. She would be asking herself. Anybody who really cares about this guy is going to be asking,
and to me, it's
asking themselves some questions, because the official narrative is bullshit. And anybody who is going to drink that Kool-Aid needs to be locked up in a psychiatric ward.
It's important to understand Charlie was a person. You know, there are some things that I agreed with him on, and I'm sure if I looked long enough, there are things that I disagreed with him on. Same goes for Erica Kirk.
Sure.
There are a lot of things I agree with her on. There are things I disagree with her. These are people. They're not God.
Yep.
So just because they say something doesn't mean I necessarily have to agree with it.
No, not at all. And never has Candace proposed to be God. She's investigating things. She's saying, this is, you know, this is what I found. That's what I found. People have been putting pressure on Candace. This was particularly like before Christmas. Somebody really aggressive. Maybe it was Pierce Morgan. Like, why aren't you telling us what the conclusion is? Well, she's like, because I don't know. We're doing an investigation here. These are questions that you ask. It would be irresponsible to jump to conclusions and say, you can definitely make hypotheses. Of course. But she was investigated. And I mean, Candace was very, I mean, people were criticizing her for not going after Erica Kirk earlier, because Erica Kirk's behavior was extremely bizarre. I mean, I found it bizarre from the beginning. I wanted to, and the thing is, I often say, I mean, I don't have much respect for women. Most of the women I know, that I always say, the only reason I had any girlfriend is because I went to girls' boarding school and I was a stay-at-home mom. Because most women, tripping the prom queen, excuse me, tripping the prom queen, backstabbing bitches. Unfortunately, you know, starts with my mother and my sisters. So I grew up with it. So, you know, I try and always give women the benefit of the doubt, but all too often I am very, very, very disillusioned. And in fact, my book exposes the witchery between women, and nobody wants to give me a voice on that one. Oh, Lord, that's even worse than the pedophilia and the corruption I want to expose.
And so that's my position on it. And so when I speak out against Candace Owens, or I speak out against anyone, it is because that is my personal belief. And I do not go based off of people's perception. I go based off of the leading of the Lord and what he tells me to do or say.
Yeah, look, and that is, especially at the beginning of this, I'm not going to lie, that's one of the things that really affected me. I tried my best not to show it, because I know that you show the weakness. Now it doesn't bother me at all. But, you know, as someone that served this country, that takes this country very seriously, you know, been to combat 4 times, risked my life multiple times. I know people that have died. This country means more to me than I think most.
Yes, and I know people have died as well. We have 60,000 women per year who are killed by family members. We have 200,000 that commit suicide. We have 600,000 that are dying of drug overdose, hundreds and thousands of women and children who are trafficked because people like these two don't want to expose anything. They just want to sell Kool-Aid.
And I would die for this country all over again. And so, you know, when people are saying, hey, you're saying what you're saying because Israel's paying you or anyone's paying you, like, there is no amount of money, nothing short of someone.
I thought it was the American government that paid him. I didn't realize it was Israel. He just spilled beans there.
Standing over there with a gun to my kids' heads or family's head, nothing short of that would get me to say something I don't believe in. And you know, that is an effective trope. And not only is it effective against when they say it against people like me and you and things like that, now I see it all over the place. Oh, Gary's paid by TPUSA, Gary's paid by Israel. And, it's unfortunate that those things slide, but really it's also a testament.
Well, now there's TPUSA. I don't know. Baron Coleman said it was 200,000. I thought it was the American government. Now, like, okay, Gary, what is it? See, one of the things that you learn as a socialite when you're brought up, one of these, at least old guard Protestant WASP mothers, was you really learn to hold your tongue.
To who you are, in that, like, they got no material argument left, and the only thing that they can resort to is trying to slander you to undermine your credibility, because what they believe they can't argue. So now it's just take you down as a personal and do the character assassination thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty funny the other day. I was talking to my 16-year-old, and it was back at the end of December. Like, we had some legitimate death threats, and I told my 16-year-old, like, doing the family briefing, like, hey guys, like, this is serious. We need to take this seriously. We need to be aware, and all the things we talked about. And he's like, Dad, that's kind of a flex, Dad. Like, you're getting death threats now. So he thinks it's a little funny. Obviously, I made sure that he knew it was serious, but he also thinks it's a little funny, like, when people are making, like, now people will make, like, AI videos and stuff trying to clown on me, which is funny. But at the same time, that's what they have left. That's what their argument is at the end of the day, because they can't stand on principle. They can't actually stand up and argue the facts. And, that's where we're at with that.
I mean, I think some of them do like to argue, because I see my comment section. But I think a lot of times what's lacking is basic critical thinking skills. And I notice so many adults have a hard time understanding that A plus B equals C. Mm-hmm. It's like they will see A and then they don't realize that there's more to that equation. A is not standing alone. Yeah. So I've noticed that. And so that's kind of
A plus B equals C,
a trend. And I think a lot of people,
I'm not sure what X plus Y equals Z I've heard of. 1 plus 1 is 2, but A plus B equals C is the first time I've heard that. I'm not sure what they're teaching in school.
People just don't take time to think, and they should take more time to think, because when you actually quiet all the noise and you take time to just think things through, things start making sense.
Yeah.
And you see that people who are coming out against certain people and saying, hey, cool it down, are maybe not saying that for no reason. They're also grieving too. They're also going through things too. It wouldn't make sense that all of us who are also grieving would just be coming against somebody who's allegedly grieving. Like, no, there's a reason why we're saying the things we're saying. We're also going through things. This was tough for us.
Yeah. And I also think this whole thing, why Candace is so, why people
it's not Candace. In fact, as I said earlier, Candace didn't really say anything for a long time, and everybody else was going, what is wrong with this woman? Everybody's going on Candace just because Candace is actually investigating issues, and that's what's bothering them. But she's been very, very moderate. In fact, has gotten, I even criticize her, and I'm like, wait a second, for example, the money stuff, you haven't really, or she hasn't really been covering that. So, I have criticism of Candace, but I think where it's merited, not like this girl. This is pure, first it's jealousy. It's, jealousy between two little girls. Okay, she's, what, 8 years younger. So Candace, so she's probably feeling frustrated because her career is not where Candace is. And what she's trying to do is launch her career and become a celebrity podcaster. And she's being used by Gary because it's advancing his agenda.
People flock to her. They get to watch this, and it's like it is a lot like the soap operas. Number one, you get to like feed this guilty pleasure that we all have, like some of the baser elements of our characteristics, whether it's greed, envy, hate, whatever else. And I think there's a lot of disturbed people out there that are suffering for some reason when they sit and watch a show for an hour that really rags on someone that normally we would hold in high esteem, like Erica Kirk, for instance. Mm-hmm. And we get to make ourselves feel better that, like, you know what, she's all fake. She's actually evil. She killed her husband, whatever it is, whatever the message is. I think it does play to that.
Oh, he knew he made a mistake there. Yeah, he shouldn't have said that. Even like, if he's meaning to say, oh, it's ludicrous. he shouldn't have said that. Ask any PR person.
What do you think is the main motivator behind Candace herself? Haven't you actually met Candace?
I have not. I was in the
that.
room with her, but I haven't met her.
Gotcha.
No.
What do you think
were saying?
Main motivation behind all this?
This woman talks about Candace, but she's never met her.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't want to say it's one thing or another. I think money has something to do with it for sure, because the love of money is the root of all evil. So I can tell you that's probably the root. But as far as what else is in the mix, I don't know. I have my theories, but I'm not in her head, so I can't tell you for sure.
Okay. We'd just be speculating, as we all have with a lot of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so in your latest series, you did a great job. I'm going to pull it up real quick. I think it's worth showing, and you pulled out a timeline. And folks, please go check this out. Let me see which one of these tabs I have it under, or I may have moved it completely. Oh, here it is. All right. Actually, that's not yours. Give me just a moment, folks. I was on it, and then we left. All right, so please go watch. I believe it's your latest video, or it might have been the one before that, where you go through this entire timeline pretty in depth. Is that correct, Tamera?
Yes, it's the latest video, okay. Part 2 of my investigation into Candace Owens.
Perfect, and she does a great job breaking this down. She goes through this very systematically. Anybody can follow. In this, Tamera, what do you feel like is kind of like and I'm not even showing it. This is why I need to. There we go. All right, so here's her timeline. Go check this out. Very easy to follow. What are some of the key elements in your mind that really stood out in this overall timeline?
For me, it was probably 2017, 2018. Okay. I don't have my glasses on, if I'm being honest, so it's hard for me to kind of see, but I can pull it up on my phone.
So in 2017, it said evicted from her luxury $3,500 per month apartment, not paying rent.
She doesn't know off of the top of her head? I mean, this is not a lot of stuff to memorize. I mean, I got thousands of pages of stuff of work that I can pull off the stuff out of the top of my head. Some of it I gotta look up, of course, but with just that she had to memorize and she can't do it? Oh, lordy lord, little girl. You better get with it.
For 6 months, sued BLT, lost lawsuit, ordered to pay $21,000 in back rent plus legal expenses, became a Republican overnight, started Red Pill Black YouTube. 2 months later, TPUSA hired her.
Yeah, a lot of things that I put on this timeline. I think all of the points I made were important, but the reason why I color coded the timeline is because I wanted people to be able to easily notice when she became a conservative and how quickly that shift happened, and also how quickly she went from one thing to another. And so I would say that was a very important thing. Also, like I said, it's so hard for me to see here. Let me just pull it up so that I can actually see this.
I don't think she put it together.
While you're doing that, I'm going to hit a few super chats and hit some comments.
Cool.
G.I. Jen, love the new opening, love the new opening. So that is all thanks to CJ. So we better thank CJ. Air Jeff, Paramount Tactical Gear, she's done 2 episodes. Can you ask?
Let's see.
Absolutely. I mean, she's genuine. Like, this is one of the things that I noticed right away. I've had a couple of people send me links and mention your content multiple times. And of course, I get a lot of that, right? So it's sometimes a little bit hard to sort through. I get, I don't know, probably 20 creator/video recommendations a day. And I do try to go through most of them. But your name had come up so many times, like, all right, I got to go check out what's going on here. And the moment I clicked on your video, I mean, you're just clearly honest, sincere.
I highly doubt that is true. That her name had come up so many times, Gary just had to check it out.
Genuine. And that's all you can ever ask of anybody. I was having that conversation with somebody today. Somebody today was talking to me. I was talking to her on the phone. She's like, Gary, you really need to have this person on to debate and discuss things. And I was like, not a chance, not a chance. And here's why. That person is a liar. Like, and they know, and the thing is, I know they're not operating in good faith. I know they're not operating in good faith. And when you go into a discussion or a debate with someone that is not operating in good faith, they have so many things at their disposal because they don't have to be honest. They can pull up anything, say anything, they can do.
How does Gary Melton know when somebody's in bad faith or good faith?
Do anything. There is no profit from you of, number one, engaging with those types of people. Number two, giving them any credibility. And number three, giving them, like, you are stuck with the truth and they can say whatever they want. Like, there's just no point in it.
See, this is something, I mean, I am a very, how shall I say, a careful person just because of my life. I mean, my mother was a pathological liar. She was a backstabber. You know, my siblings My sisters were like that. I came to Washington in the 80s. I had wanted to get into politics. I was disgusted. I left the country, and I left. I mean, my mom, I couldn't count on my parents for any money. So, I mean, I had to earn my money to go, and I went on my own steam. Nobody bankrolled that. In fact, I had to work. I mean, I was working in the financial markets and making good money, but I was I was there for the 87 collapse. But, and then I had to move abroad. I mean, this is another thing with all of these young women who are like, oh, oh, oh. I'm like, wait a second, you know, don't be born yesterday. Un poco piloso, as they say in Spanish. So, I mean, I'm on my own. I'm a young woman on my own, and I gotta, watch my back. So, I'm. Let's just say, but I always give people the benefit of the doubt, and precisely to avoid falling into the trap of being biased, I try and give somebody the benefit of the doubt that they're of good faith until they give me some reason to doubt that. But then you have the expression, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So, don't be taken for a fool. And this little girl is taken for a fool all the time. Well, I don't think so much. I think she's just, yes, greed is definitely there, my dear.
I don't know what your thoughts are on that. But.
Yeah, I totally agree.
She's trying to
there are people on the side of Candace Owens that I genuinely think are just misled and just quite frankly not very bright. And like Tamera was talking about, there are people that just don't have good critical thinking skills and they're just ignorant. Or they're just, again, they've been convinced of something.
Yes, and you brought one on to your platform because this is definitely not Candace. One of the things that is bothering everybody is Candace, does have some integrity and she's not a brainless bimbo.
And that isn't true. There are several people on that side that I'm perfectly fine to have come on and talk because I think that they're honest people. I don't think that they're all that bright, but they're honest people, and you can have a discussion. And, you can just have a good faith discussion. You can't do that. Those other people just aren't worth the time. Right. RB Sauce says, I grew up in the UPC too. Specifically oneness. I saw another comment or two. Glad I learned the truth. Would love to know about your journey out. Absolutely. Maybe we'll talk about that at the end of this. I wouldn't necessarily say journey out. There's definitely elements of that I disagree with now, growing up UPC and now kind of going to a non-denominational church. And then conversely, there's some things that our church that I go to now that I disagree with. I think Pentecostals got right, but we can have a discussion.
For sure. Right, we can definitely talk about it.
Here we are on your timeline, and I'm just going to make this as big as possible for everybody to see. I don't know what you want to cover. I don't want to try to get you to go through this because you did such a great job in your video that I think people need to go see that. But if there's some really key points that you want to talk about or that gives, I don't know, some kind of frames like your points about Candace, feel free to do so.
Okay. I guess the most important thing that I wanted people to understand was the human Candace Owens is and her track record. A lot of people were saying that, well, a lot of this information is already publicly available. I don't understand why. I shouldn't say a lot of people were saying that, but, Candace Owens' followers were saying that. Like, oh, well, a lot of this information is already available, so why even talk about this? But it's never been put in a timeline like this before. And a lot of people are visual learners, so I thought it was important that people can visually make out how Candace became who she is and what her story is without her I guess, chiming in to add her own flair to it, right? Sure. And telling us bits and pieces. I wanted to see.
Well, excuse me, it is her life, and you would think so. Anyway, okay, so we'll go now to Didi Got a Podcast because that, this is Didi. He's a young man. I like him. He has a brain. He thinks, he does some research. There's still some videos. There's one that he did on Martin Luther King that I really want to see still. So he is definitely an intelligent young man.
Erica Kirk. She's already went the racial route.
Hold on. I was listening to him earlier. Oh, I was cracking up. I was absolutely cracking up.
Happy Monday, everybody. Let me first say, man, calm down. Calm down. All of y'all in the comment section are already going back and forth. That's not even necessary. There's no beef. There's no smoke. There's no any of that. If you've been following my channel for longer than just 6 months since the whole Charlie Kirk thing, then you will know that I'm a pretty objective person. It's not personal. It's never personal when it comes to anybody. I investigate things. I like to look into things and consider all options when it comes to a plethora of different topics. If you've been following this channel for at least, if you've done any research on my channel prior to videos over the past 6 months, before the last 6 months, then you would know that I've already done a deep dive on Candace's political career, the available information about her. I've been very objective. We have the same politics. We share the same politics for the most part. But I'm pretty objective about things that are suspicious to me, things that are, I'm not sure about, but it's never personal. But that's not even what this live is going to be about. There's a person who did a deep dive on Candace's career going back to like 2005. And I only know that because I watched like the first 2 minutes of their video. And I just cut it off and said, I'm just going to go live with you all as I like to do. And we're going to go over this together because, again, I've done a deep dive on Candace before. I don't know what's all true and what's not. How can you ever know for certain? But they're claiming that the research that they've conducted has finally explained to them why it is that Candace Owens is so hell-bent on investigating Erica Kirk. And again, I only watched the first couple of minutes, but I can tell just by reading like the first 10 or 15 comments that I don't know what this person's political affiliation is, but I'm assuming that the video may not be that favorable towards Candace. I could be wrong. The video could be pretty objective, but based on the comments, people are down there saying things like, oh, that would explain why she's always focused on other people's husbands and other people's relationships and not focused on her own. And that this explains so much.
I hope that you could hear that. Oh, he was talking about himself. Shoot. Okay, I hope you could hear that.
Yeah, so I know some of you all are in the comment section saying things like, this isn't untold. People know about the settlement or the lawsuit. That's not, I'm assuming this video is a bit deeper than this, because obviously, yes, you're right. We all know that about Candace. She's been very open about that. And I believe she has it in her book as well. But I'm here to, I like truth. So if this person is lying about something based on the information that I have or the information that I've looked into before, the research that I've conducted, then we're going to clear it up. But I am curious to hear, because it's a pretty long video. The video is trending it's pretty early, but it's trending pretty good so far. So clearly she said something that either struck a nerve or maybe she's revealed something that may be new. Before we hop into that, as always, please hit the like button. I do want to just share with as they would say, my Patreons, not people that are on Patreon. Link is in the description to the Patreon, but the people that are subscribers to this channel and sort of look forward to DD my videos. I do want to say, I don't know what's been going on over the past couple of weeks, like 6 of maybe.
Yeah, he's been having some issues.
So, yeah, man, we're going to go ahead and hop into this. A lot of people are going to have to catch this on the back end because I literally just scheduled this live 30 minutes ago, if that. So let's hop into this and let's see what evidence or what research this person has conducted. Again, if they're sharing any lies that I'm aware of, then we're going to definitely, call them out on the lies.
I don't know what I was thinking when I made the announcement that I was going to be investigating Candace Owens.
But I will say that I will definitely put a link in the description to this person's video. And again, the purpose of this video is to just see what this person is talking about and if they have anything productive to share here. Because usually what you'll see is people will put videos like this together. Is super progressive and they don't like Candace and they don't like the research that she's conducting. But again, I could be completely wrong about that. That may not be what the video is about, but I'm just curious. Let's see.
Because this has been a lot of work. So y'all better be lucky I love y'all, because I am up right now, late in the night, putting this together for y'all. Now, let's go ahead and get started.
Okay, somebody said that this person is a hardcore conservative. Okay, so that makes this video is even more interesting. Okay, Veronica said this person is a conservative. Okay, let's see what they.
But I don't know why she finds this so absolutely hilarious. I'm not following what
they put together.
I had to just go ahead and say it. Okay, it just had to be said. I have tracked down Candace Owens' whereabouts all the way back to 2005. Now, people have been pointing out that Candace Owens has mentioned high school repeatedly. She's made references to the movie Mean Girl, and she continuously brings up high school characters.
My daddy is so rich, he can buy the world. I'm so rich. We are so rich. We can buy whatever we want. And so now we're just going to buy you, and we're going to make people like us because we can afford it. We can buy social standing. Erica, chairman, CEO, Erica, my girl. Heavy is the head that wears the crown after its rightful owner was deposed. Am I right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Well, after doing some research into Candace Owens' high school past, I think I know why she continues to do that. Now, I want to get into that, and I also want to get into other things. But before we do, I'm Tamera. You're watching the Tamera Nealy Show. I'd like to welcome back all my returning subscribers. And if you're new here, I would like to let you know I'm happy you're here. Quickly, let's get into a word of prayer, because on this show, we believe that prayer is our first resort and not our last. Lord God, I thank you for today. Thank you for Erica Kirk. Thank you for Turning Point USA. Thank you for Candace Owens. Lord, I pray for each and every person watching this, that they are inspired to be willing workers. Lord, help us to use our gifts for your glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right.
Okay.
So before we even get started, let's just talk about why I'm doing this, because I already know some of y'all are thinking it. Why is Tamera investigating Candace Owens?
Well,
Leave Candace alone. Well, the reason why I am investigating Candace Owens is because we are in the fight of our lives. We are fighting for this generation of Americans' mindset. And Candace Owens told my generation to champion conservative values. And now she is flipped.
What?
She is influencing the mindset of many, millions. I want you to understand her mindset and the human she is. This is part 2 of my investigation into Candace Owens Farmer.
Okay, I'm a bit confused here. She says that Candace Owens is flipped. Did I hear that correctly? So I'm already impressed with the intro of this video. She seemed pretty objective by blessing both Erica Kirk and Candace. I like that she opened it up with prayer.
Okay, she said a prayer and that impressed him. Okay, yeah, he's confused. This is what I started laughing. I'm like, oh, my child, this little girl. Yeah, you're gonna get real confused here.
It seemed pretty apparent to me already that she seems pretty conservative. I already like the intro to this video, but I'm kind of confused what she means when she says that Candace told America to have conservative values, but now she's flipped. I'm not pretty for sure what she means by that, unless she's talking about when it comes to Trump. Now, if she's saying that flipping on Trump means that she's flipped on conservative values, I don't know what she's talking about here.
Yeah.
Right? Like anybody with 2 eyeballs and one brain cell, if you're objective, can see what Trump is doing is. I mean, I've been all over Twitter. I know some of you have been asking for me to put a video out on the Iran war. I may reach out to the guy, but I may have a special guest onto the show here pretty soon. A person who predicted that Trump was going to do some of the things that he's doing right now. But anyways, not to derail and go off on a tangent, but calling things as they are, that being Trump flipping and not sticking to his campaign promises, which is something that I've been saying from the jump. That's not flipping on conservative values, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Maybe that's not what she's saying.
Yeah, it is.
You may or may not get a part 3. So enjoy this. I have created a comprehensive timeline. Let's go ahead and put that on the screen. Go ahead and screenshot this timeline so you can take a look at it on your free time.
That's pretty impressive.
I have put together this timeline. It starts at Candace Owens' early childhood origin story, which we covered last week, and then it goes all the way up to 2026, where we are now. All right, so let's start back in 2005. This is when Candace Owens was in high school. And when Candace Owens was in high school, she had multiple racial incidences that she was involved in. But as I looked into it, I realized it went beyond race. And I'm going to explain why, starting with this first story. In 2005, Candace Owens was attacked by 3 white girls. One of the white girls left a lot of voicemails on Candace Owens' phone, saying some racial slurs, basically fussing her out. And then the girls saw Candace Owens in the hallway, and they said, "Candace, we got a problem." And I'm paraphrasing here. Apparently, they were accusing Candace Owens of having a sexual relationship with one of the girls' boyfriends. And they said they wanted to catch her outside, if you know what I mean. So what did they do? They met Candace Owens at work while she was at work, and they attacked Candace Owens while she was working at the Blockbuster. The confrontation was caught on security camera, and eventually the girls were charged with second-degree breach of peace, second-degree unlawful restraint, conspiracy to commit breach of peace, and conspiracy to commit unlawful restraint and intimidation by bigotry or bias. Now, they were tried as minors, so the information regarding that case is closed, meaning the public was not aware or notified about the court proceedings. But what's interesting about that story is one of the girls' lawyers said that it was more about boyfriend issues than it was about bigotry. That's what the lawyer said. Now, that doesn't necessarily justify what the girls were saying, but just to add further context, that's what the lawyer said. Are we starting to see why these high school references are coming about? Well, if that's not enough, let's go ahead and go to 2007. Yes, I went down a rabbit hole. I took my time. In 2007, Candace Owens has another racial incident at school. This time, it did not involve the 3 girls, but it did involve another boyfriend. Now, from my understanding of what Vanity Fair covered about this story is that Candace Owens was over her boyfriend's house. She starts receiving these voicemails. She was already going through a rough time that day or that week because she had gotten into a verbal altercation.
Not that this is neither here nor there, not that this is important or not, but I'm just trying to figure out where she's going with this, right? Is this an actual investigation, or is this because from just early on, if I was to jump the gun, it's seeming that maybe she's going down the racial perspective. She's saying that because I don't know this person, it seems that some of you all are more familiar with her than I am. This is my first time finding any of her videos. So maybe she's going from the angle of defending Erica and saying that Candace is going after Erica because Erica's a white woman.
Ding, ding, ding,
because, which obviously I would totally disagree with that.
ding.
That's what I'm early on by her asking, do you all see why I'm bringing up high school, why that's important? By her asking that, okay, y'all say give it a minute. All right, I'll wait.
With another friend who said that her boyfriend, that she was jealous of her boyfriend. And so then apparently Candace Owens was getting all these voicemails, once again, a voicemail scenario. And she ended up in a situation where somebody else or a group of other people were calling her racial slurs again. And this situation ended up going to the NAACP. And the NAACP ended up getting a settlement for Candace Owens from the school for $37,500 to settle this dispute. Now, I know a lot of people have heard that particular story before. But what stood out to me about this Vanity Fair article that I read about this story is Candace Owens' words about this story that they pulled out of her book. Let's take a look at those words. I ache for high school Candace, alone and crying, unaware of what the next morning would bring. So is it starting to make sense why Candace Owens is continuously mentioning high school? Could it be that Candace Owens is still living through that trauma in her mind and she has not processed that? And so now she's projecting the experiences that she had in high school where she felt powerless, where she felt that ache for high school Candace Owens. Could she be projecting that onto Erica Kirk? Could she be projecting that onto Turning Point USA?
Y'all told me, you sneaky sons of guns, you told me to give it a minute. Veronica, was that you? I may have missed the person. One of you all just said, give it a minute, Dee. And she is literally going down the direction I thought, no, lady, I totally disagree with this. I totally disagree with this. No, I don't think it's projection. But even if it was projection, that the very things that, again, as I always say, is the things that Candace saying, or anybody else for that matter, right? Replace.
I would love to take Didi Got a Podcast, this Didi guy. Oh, please come to me to a country club and sit there and have to listen to these cackling heads all afternoon long.
Is Candace with anybody else? Is what they're saying true or not? The research that's being conducted is factual information. Erica Kirk has been caught in multiple lies. Who cares about if you have a reason? That's what she meant. She meant Candace Owens has flipped because she is critiquing TPUSA.
Yeah. The thing is this is gaslighting. This is gaslighting 101.
That's what she means. She's a part to me. It's appearing to me, as I said just a few moments ago, it's still appearing to me that she's a part of the conservative crowd now. Now that I understand that she's conservative, that thinks that Candace Owens has changed. Candace Owens is not the same anymore. No.
These are guns.
That I told.
This woman is a gun for hire and been instructed to pass out Kool-Aid, and that's what she's
Totally disagree with.
And other people. because later in her timeline,
the script has been written for her, and as I said before, when she had to pull, I have to look at it. I have to look at it. Let me pull it up on her phone, and she still didn't pull it up on her phone. And I don't know it off the top of my head. Excuse me. If she had done lots of time, in-depth study of it, she'd know that stuff off the top of her head.
which we will get to, we see that Erica Kirk is not the first person that Candace Owens has attacked. Now, if you're looking at the timeline, you know that I listed that Candace Owens was also arrested for harassment in 2007, 2008 range. That is interesting to me because now Candace Owens has been harassing Turning Point USA, the Macrones.
Okay, wait a second. This, I was like, what? Candace Owens arrested in 2000. Let's see, was Candace Owens arrested? Was not arrested. She said no, she wasn't arrested. She was the victim of a series of racist threats, death threats. The others were arrested. 17-year-old classmate. Legal outcome. She paid. Was Candace ever arrested for anything? Well, Candace Owens. Okay, it says there have been several notable women. Candace, we were talking about Candace Owens. Yeah, AI doesn't like me. Apparently, Ian Carroll said you have to train it. I'm like, oh God. Yeah, it's already doesn't like some of the questions I'm asking. Okay, no criminal arrest. Has not been arrested for any crime. Oh, she's currently facing defamation lawsuit, but yeah, we all know about that. Okay, victim of a crime. In 2025, she reported that the FBI arrested a New Jersey man who was allegedly plotting to assassinate her. Yeah, so no, sorry, little girl.
Covering that story when they asked her to stop, and Blake Lively and all these other people. So when I saw that, I'm like, that's weird that Candace Owens actually got arrested for harassing people at one point. Now, this is allegedly.
That is false, false, false. I hope she sues you for defamation.
Are y'all also noticing all?
I'm going to say, no. You can't, if you're going to say that this woman was arrested for harassing someone, give us the details, right?
Yeah.
Let's dig into the granularities of that. Because many people won't know that. What are you saying here, lady?
Yeah. That's a lot.
I'm going to tell y'all what makes this even worse for me. Y'all don't understand the amount of emails and the type of emails that I receive. I have the people that know me for being an objective person that say, Dee, investigate Candace more. Candace gets supported by the algorithm. Candace has linked up with Kanye West. I have that crowd, and I understand that crowd, and that crowd's concerns and their questions are valid. But I also have the crowd, many of you all, that absolutely love Candace and don't want anyone to critique Candace. As it pertains to the Charlie Kirk investigation, I understand that. Outside of that, anybody is open to criticism. But then you got people like this that confuse me, because if you're conservative, you're conservative. But the problem is, if you're not a white person, they'll label you something else conservative. So in this particular case, a black conservative. Why can't you just be a conservative? So they've already placed you in a box. But what comes with that box is stereotypes. And one of the stereotypes that comes with being a quote unquote black conservative is that you have to go along with what the majority of the conservative party, which happens to be white people, what the majority of white conservatives, what their consensus is, what their opinions are, right? Why is that important here? Because I'm getting the vibe from her that she does not want to step outside of the realm of what the general consensus is in the conservative party as it pertains to Erica Kirk and TPUSA, which is to pretend that there are not a lot of red flags, to pretend that there are not a lot of questions about what happened that day, to pretend that Erica Kirk has not been caught in so many lies, to pretend that Erica Kirk's behavior has not been weird. So to fit in and to not stand out like a sore thumb, This is what you typically find with Black conservatives. This is the issue. This is no better than the left pretending that men can be women, pretending that everything is sexism when it's not.
It's called brown nose.
The high school drama Candace Owens was involved in. Could that be where this drama queen got her start? Now let's go ahead and move on to 2009 to 2014. From 2009 to 2014, Candace Owens was attending the University of Rhode Island. Unfortunately, Candace Owens could not afford the cost of university, so she ended up dropping out, and she was $150,000 in debt.
Started my life $150,000 in student loan debt for falling for this, the scam of you must go to college and take out loans even though you don't really know what you want to do.
What you may not have known is she also had a Adderall addiction that developed while she was in college. Let's skip forward to 2015. In 2000,
Why was that relevant though? I'm trying to understand now. Now you're free to mention whatever you'd like, but shouldn't you be mentioning things that sort of contribute to the point that you're making here? Which you've already lost me with this. Let's dig into this history, because even though everything that's being stated about TPUSA is true, valid, and causes major concerns, let's find other things about the person that's investigating them to try to delegitimize what it is that they're saying. It doesn't make sense.
2015.
It does, because she wants to, witch hunt tactic, and she wants to completely discredit Candace and say, see, you can't listen to anything she has to say because we don't like her. Did Candace have an Adderall addiction? I don't know how that spells. Oh, wait. Did Candace Owens? Ooh, come on. There is no public evidence or credible reporting to suggest that Candace Owens has or had an addiction to Adderall. While she has discussed addiction and mental health in various contexts, the specific details do not support this claim. Secret Addiction podcast in 2022 of her show titled My Secret Addiction and America's Problems with Overindulgence. Owens reveals her addiction was actually a compulsion for buying property and land, which she used as a jumping off point to discuss national issues. Eating disorder. Owens has been open about her past struggle with severe eating disorder, which during her early 20s, which she described as a way to feel in control of her life following a traumatic high school experience. It's, normal. Conflicting stories. Online search often suggests stories of other public figures. Well, yeah, okay. But yeah, again, not true.
Candace Owens launched Degree 180. Degree 180 was a left-wing website that featured celebrity gossip, sex topics, and anti-Trump content. In 2016, Candace Owens launched a Kickstarter campaign for Social Autopsy, a website focused on exposing cyberbullies.
Introducing Social Autopsy, the first ever search database that compiles and allows the public to easily access the digital footprint of individuals and companies. Our team has crawled through the public interfaces of Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, creating real profiles for the individuals that lob hate speech over the web.
But the platform actually ended up resulting in doxing individuals. The left ended up canceling her over this.
The left tried to do hit pieces on me during the election, and that was my red pill moment.
Really? So
Yeah.
wait, how did doing an anti-bullying thing get you caught up in the left?
Because it was a huge failure. And when Candace Owens went through this situation, Candace Owens started thinking. And she was thinking.
How
And next thing you know,
does she know what Candace Owens did and what she was thinking or wasn't thinking. But this is something, when people start telling me what other people have been thinking, I'm like, oh Lord, okay, let's hear it.
Before next thing you know, let's also mention a little bit more history from 2017. And that is Candace Owens was evicted from her luxury apartment.
There's something, they keep on clipping her. This girl has been coached and this has been doctored.
Costed $3,500 a month.
Why is this relevant? Why is this irrelevant? I'm so confused here.
And this all had to do with her not paying rent.
And again, the purpose of me reacting to this video, this isn't just some random video, right? Where's the proof of this? But also the purpose, and the purpose of this video also isn't to just defend Candace Owens. Just for the record, this is about, as I always say, defending truth, regardless of who it is on the end that is being taken up for. This video is trending, and I'm trying to understand where this person is coming from, and they're losing me. Because this is a left or a leftist tactic.
Yep.
Let's not deal with the substance of what's being said about TPUSA and Erica Kirk. Instead, let's deal with the individual. No. I don't care if the person is a criminal and they're locked up for life. If the words they're telling me is true, or if the words they're telling me are true, that's all that matters. If their investigation is credible, as in reputable, right? That's all that matters. Who cares if you like the things that they've done before in the past? Is the research true or not?
Yep.
For 6 months straight.
Which
and instead of Candace Owens stepping up to the plate and saying, hey, I gotta pay Paul what I owe Paul, Candace Owens said the reason why she wasn't paying rent is because the apartment had mold. And she went ahead and sued BLT. Lost the lawsuit. And she was ordered to pay $21,300 in back rent plus legal expenses. So let's slow down for a second. What did we just talk about that happened back in 2014? Well, Candace Owens dropped out of college because she could not afford it. So that would mean she was, at this point, more than likely $150,000 in student loan debt plus interest. And then she also had the $21,300 balance that she owed in back rent. So it looks to me like Candace Owens was in a whole lot of debt. So what did she do? Candace became a Republican overnight. She started Red Pill YouTube, and 2 months later, she was hired by Turning Point USA. Now, are we all starting to put together the pieces?
To answer your question, no. No. Hold up, man.
See,
hold up.
This is where I'm like, wait a second, Dee. Yes, I'm putting together the dots. This girl is jealous of Candace. She's going to do a hit piece. She's trying to advance her, become her podcast becomes more popular, and she's an opportunist, and she's taking the opportunity. This girl is not a Christian. This is what I'm so sick and tired. The more they pray, the more they'll pull out their knives and stab you in the back.
So your logic here is that Candace Owens is a grifter, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I'm just so confused here. So, because even if this is true, sure, maybe she's a grifter.
She isn't.
What does that have to do with the investigation? Charlie Kirk was allegedly taken out. There's a lot of red flags about what happened with the guy. His friend is investigating said powing. You're upset that the investigation has led her back to the very people that were around Charlie. Let me remind people. Remember,
I just would love to take him to an afternoon tea and say, okay, for 3 hours, you're gonna have to sit here and listen to these little ladies. This is not just something that's the left pulls. This is gaslighting bullshit. Oh, the right, the conservatives. Ooh, it used to be the left. used to call out this gaslighting bullshit. They didn't. The left never pulled that when I was young.
Candace went like the first 2-3 months, I would say, pretending that she didn't even notice anything wrong with TPUSA or Erica Kirk, or specifically Erica Kirk. Remember, she didn't do that. I did.
Yeah.
Within 2 days, I did. That's how a lot of you all found me.
Yep.
This is crazy. Come with something objective, and I would agree with you, but this is, I'm so confused here. Lady, how about you deal with the substance of what we're saying about Erica Kirk, about TPUSA? Talk about the fraud. Talk about the videos of the ex-TPUSA employees and what they revealed about TPUSA.
But you're missing the point. She is purposely deviating attention away from those issues. It is by design.
There's no way you're serious here.
Yeah.
She gets canceled by the left. She's in all this debt. Next thing you know, woo, she has this conservative revelation. And next thing you know, she's a conservative overnight. Now, at the very same time, Turning Point USA was in a desperate situation, if you will.
Oh, wow. You know what's interesting about this? A lot of people turned quote unquote conservative or whatever political affiliation, quote unquote, overnight. It don't really actually happen overnight, but the seed can be planted in one moment. I told you all, I always knew that I believed in God, and follow any woman. I don't think a woman's job is to be a leader. But that does not mean that women are not smart. Of course they are. That does not mean you can't learn from women. Of course you can, right? I don't follow Candace Owens, right? I'm a man at the end of the day, and it is my job to lead. However, I have learned a lot from Candace Owens. And the truth of the matter is, Candace Owens, it was a debate I saw.
See, this is where he doesn't follow women. That's a mistake, buddy. You really should.
Between her and Killer Mike and T.I. and what is it? Tamika Mallory, I believe is her name. When I saw that debate, my mouth dropped. First and foremost, I had so much respect for the courage of Candace. She was in a room full of stereotypical black folks that have been duped by the Democrat Party, don't care about politics, don't care to learn about politics, claim to believe in God, but they're supporting all the things of the Democrat Party that quite literally are antithetical to being a follower of Christ. They don't care about that. They care about what they're told to believe in, right? She still went into the lion's den, and she stated her point. And she said how she used to feel about Trump and when that point switched for her. So the ultimate point I'm getting at here is, how is it a knock? How is it a knock to say a person once believed in something and then they were convinced otherwise? There is nothing wrong with that. Especially when you are able to articulate the very reason why you switched, and that reason is valid, and you give a credible reason, in which she did. She does not support abortion. You're not a Democrat, right? She does not believe in racism or even quote unquote reverse racism. You're not a Democrat by definition, right? She don't believe in quote unquote identity politics for black folks or for Jewish people. She's been consistent here. If we're going to criticize this person or anybody else, let's do it off what makes the most sense. Lady, you're not dealing with the facts here. The facts. I do know that Candace is going live in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to end this live a little bit, like 5 minutes after, so that you all can jump on that live. I know you all want to listen to Candace. And then I'll come back maybe later tonight and go live again. If you all would like that, just let me know. But let's continue here. Because again, the purpose of her video is because she's about to show us why it is that Candace is so invested in investigating Erica Kirk. She's already went the racial route. Candace has history with white women in high school. Now she's going the grifter route.
Because
we saw this in it was the interview with Candace's cousin. Candace always hung out with white people. So This is not, I'm sorry, she's not going after. I mean, this is like, so, come on, come on.
Their organization, their company was accused of racism because one of their employees was caught sending some racist messages over text saying that they didn't like black people.
That's not surprising.
So what did they need? They needed some black people. They needed at least one to be able to stand up and speak out against this foolishness. And who also needed some cash? Candace Owens. She needed some cash. This is all back in Candace Owens' history. And I'm just putting together the pieces that are already there. In 2018, Kanye West endorses Candace Owens.
Started on this couch, and the last couple of weeks have been insane.
Absolutely. It has been crazy how much a 7-word tweet can impact your life, positively and negatively. But I'm just so optimistic. It's been a wonderful couple of weeks for me.
This was a big deal for her. She was super excited. She was happy. I mean, Candace Owens couldn't stop talking about it. Because Kanye West said that he liked how she thought. And that meant the world to her. Candace Owens also launched Blexit that same year.
It is the Black and Latino exit from the lies of the left, from the victim narrative. And it's time for us to come together and realize that we are a part of the American picture.
And Kanye West ended up distancing himself from Candace because he claimed that Candace Owens was making false claims about his connection with her merch design or something.
So he didn't give me this. So he had introduced me to a designer that was making these this calligraphy letters that were based in human beings, which was largely inspired by Uganda.
Sure.
And he helped me, that designer helped me create an entire font that we then put on hats.
So
he claims that didn't happen. Candace said on national TV that it did. That same year, Charlie Kirk starts dating Erica Kirk. Candace Owens apologized to Kanye West. And they became friends again.
What was there, the Kanye West? She said that some designer that Kanye West knew that did these figures, like letters, but they're in the forms of people. She took those designs and she put them on the hat. She didn't say that Kanye West designed it. She said that a designer who knew Kanye West, she took those designs and put them on the hat. And then I'm sure that got turned into something and the whole thing. And then she apologized to Kanye West for what?
Also, what happened in 2018 is Candace Owens made some pro-Hitler remarks.
Oh, Lord.
Notice how quick.
Wow.
Oh.
She didn't.
Oh, she didn't.
And hopefully she plays the clip. And if she don't play the clip, I'm going to go and find the clip. She did not make any pro Germany mustache man remarks. She was talking about globalism. She was talking about globalism. This is if she plays this clip, she's just going to embarrass herself.
This is happening. That is why I provided this timeline so you all can follow along with me.
Play the clip, lady. You better play the clip.
Play the clip.
In 2019, Candace Owens resigns from turning.
Play the clip.
She didn't play the clip.
Yep.
She states that makes so many other things that you just stated about this woman questionable because you didn't show the evidence of many of the things you just stated about her being arrested for harassment and all these things. Where's the evidence of that?
Which we saw were not true.
She was talking about nationalism. Thank you. Not globalism. She was talking about nationalism.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, she said something along the lines, if Mustache Man only wanted to make Germany great again, then it wouldn't have been an issue. But the issue was he tried to expand that to the entire world and the methods of unaliving and hurting other people. That's what she said.
What she actually said was that Hitler was a nationalist and that she didn't have a problem with nationalism. And I mean, he was right with the globalism. It's an anti-globalist. But that's what, and then everybody, oh, la, 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 she loves Hitler. I mean, this is, again, gaslighting 101. But see, she didn't play the clip. She just perpetuates the misinformation that has been debunked time and time again.
That's what she said. Why didn't you play the clip? I don't like when anybody's lied on. That's crazy.
Yep.
Point USA, and that is because of the pro-Hitler statements that she was making. The people were not having it. So Charlie Kirk and her had a conversation. Next thing you know, Candace Owens resigns. Well, after Candace Owens resigns from Turning Point.
But did Candace Owens resign because of that? See, that would be pretty bad of TPUSA if she was forced to resign because of that.
Point USA, she lands a job at PragerU.
I am super excited to announce that I am rolling out a brand new podcast with PragerU, aptly entitled The Candace Owens Show.
And she also meets and marries George Farmer 18 days after they were introduced. Isn't that timeline interesting? She leaves Turning Point USA. Charlie Kirk starts dating Erica Kirk. Candace Owens leaves Turning Point USA. And next thing you know, she's married to George Farmer, who people have been saying in the media that he wanted to.
She's reading a script there. She's been totally coached. She's totally reading from a script. See, and as I said before, the timeline, she didn't know, oh, I got to pull it up on my phone. And she didn't even pull it up on her phone.
Own or be the, I don't know if he wanted to be CEO of Turning Point USA UK or whatever, but there were some situations there where he wanted his part in Turning Point USA, and it seemed to be like there was some chaos, some tension, and people are still saying that to this day.
Again, no evidence of that, but again, this video isn't about just defend Candace Owens, because when it comes to her marriage, that is a bit weird to me. But I do want to state something for the record. My understanding is not that she met and married him in 18 days. My understanding was,
yeah, no, they got engaged, which I agree is real fast. I would highly discourage anybody for going that fast.
that it's still odd. It's still very uncommon to hear this, but the distinction is very important. My understanding is that they met and became engaged in 18 days, and I believe they only they would later marry like a year later. That's completely different.
Because it was a huge event at Trump, like a Trump winery or something like that. That you got to plan that stuff months and months in advance.
Marrying a year later is not the same thing as marrying within 18 days. Getting engaged is not getting married. She's also alluding to the fact that maybe Candace Owens had a thing for Charlie, but Charlie met Erica. So then Candace decided to move on and marry somebody else. I don't know. I don't know what's
okay. So here, this is where the ladies step in, Dee Dee. Oh, my Lord, of course you don't know, but this is very important. It is. No way. First off, Candace, as an old lady, would be matchmaking between all of the young kids if, I wasn't canceled and marginalized and this was a traditional society and I was doing my job as a trad wife and a trad, grandmother or prospective grandmother looking for to be a grandmother. And of course, then my eagle eye is out. If I have a daughter, I want a good son, a good son-in-law. If I have a son, I have two sons, and this is what concerns me. I do not want them falling in the hands of a stupid bimbo or a viperous woman like Erica Kirk. And this is apart from my work in the mommy wars and challenging the ideologies. The young women that are out there, I don't want my sons falling in the hands of any of them. They're horrible. And this is partially their role model. But so I can tell you, Charlie and Candace Owens were obviously very, very, very good friends. And, when you listen to Candace speak about him, you can tell. And when you watch them, speaking together and podcasts and thing, you can tell that they were very good friends. But if there was anything that ever was going to have happened, it would have happened long before Erica Kirk came on the scene. Candace is more than intelligent enough, much more so than Erica. And if she had wanted Charlie, she would have had Charlie. But I don't see them two to get together. I think they make very good friends, but you know, just as a matchmaking old lady, I wouldn't particularly say that would be two that I would put together. Um, don't know enough about George. I mean, obviously, they made their own decision, and that's their decision, and I wish them well. And I wish them very well. In fact, I agree. The liberals are breaking up families. Now, of course, they're not going to put that on their website.
In Candace's head, I don't know if she likes.
But the conservatives have been breaking up families as well. They just hide it. They try and hide everything, and everything appears normal when it's not.
Got a thing for Charlie? I don't know. I also don't care. It's not my business. All right. I'm going to play like another 5 minutes of this, and I'm going to.
But it is important in debunking this theory that everybody wants to throw out there that Candace is doing this because she's jealous of Erica. Again, stop with the bullshit and look at, did Erica lie? Is Erica's behavior normal? No. But everybody keeps on, the little ladies, the cackling hens in the conversation, keep on throwing that thing in there. And so I want to address it. As I say, Candace is a beautiful young woman, very intelligent. If she had wanted Charlie Kirk, she would have had Charlie Kirk. I can assure you.
I'm going to let you all go ahead and jump over to Candace, and then maybe I'll continue this after the fact.
Now, I have not looked too much into that situation, but let me know if you guys want me to. Also, let me know if you're enjoying this episode as we are going through it. Y'all, I have worked hard to.
Yeah, and you've done a lot of lying, lady. You've done a lot of lying. A lot of lying.
I have worked really hard. This is why this is why she was laughing. This is why she was laughing at the beginning. Because she hasn't. Somebody gave her a script. This is why she thought it was so funny. I've worked really hard. She knew she was lying through her teeth.
So much, in fact, that I'm going to reach out to this lady, and I'm going to see if she's going to come on camera and lie like this.
Oh, I hope
put this together for you. So I'm hoping that this timeline is helpful. Please let me know if it is. Okay? Please let me know. On this show, we believe in giving honor where honor is due. I would like to thank.
Actually, I'm just going to stop it there. That's perfect timing. So what we're going to do is Candace goes live in like 2 minutes. I know a lot of you all want to go and watch that as she continues the Erica Kirk series. I'm going to drop the link in the description to this video that I just reacted to. And if you all want me to react to the other half of it,
oh yeah,
let me know, and I can do that maybe later tonight. If you all are interested, only if you're interested. All right.
Yeah, Dee Dee.
So
yeah.
Y'all let me know as always.
Oh, please.
And I will catch you all later. But I need you all to tell me in the comment section if you're interested in me going live later.
Yeah, I told him. I said, oh, yes, please, Dee Dee. You definitely have to. Oh, here. I wondered what happened to my little person. Anyway, yeah, I was cracking up with him. So I hope he will, because I wanted to look at the other. She did a part 1 and a part 2, and I think there's even a part 3. But see, people make up lies all the time. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, I grew up with it. I've known people, I mean, as I say, my mom, my two sisters, and my ex-husband. I mean, that's also why he got so frustrated because I'd be like, don't bullshit me. Don't bullshit me. He was a good con artist, but I mean, he could never con me because I was like, no, don't bullshit me. Don't bullshit me. Don't tell me lies. But this is also, in order for con artists to be able to con people, they got to find people who are gullible and who will buy into it. I've never understood, well, I can't, I used to not understand. I've come to understand. I used to not understand why pathological liars and con artists are the ones who are easiest to fall into the trap of a con artist. I mean, I'd always be like, excuse me, that person is like conning you. My favorite one time was this guy, a Latino in Miami that I knew. He said, oh, well, that doesn't matter. I'll just, I'm like, they're charging too much. That's like ridiculous. Oh, that doesn't matter. I'll just charge it over. He sold cars for a living. Um, I'll just take somebody for a ride. I'll just overcharge somebody tomorrow. And I was just like, yeah, I don't live that way. Oh, Lordy Lord. So anyway, I thought that was just too funny. Too funny. So yeah, that, as I say, goes into where are my slides? The the slides that I've been doing on the deep state with the white replacement and black supremacy. And this, the thing is, yeah, see, okay, white replacement, since the whites are asleep at the wheel and have Gary Melton, before most of it is Tucker Carlson in here. He talks about white replacement and stuff. But so it's the prep school Ivy League college Tucker Carlsons who are out to lunch and are surrounded by bimbo blonde wives who may know how to cook and reproduce children, but not much else. And I mean, she did go to St. George's, so, should be educated and not be stupid. Or the Megyn Kelly of the world, who is a having it all, backstabbing. As I always say, Megyn Kelly, she blows with the wind so much that even in the biggest hurricane of the century, she'd be left standing. The woman has no spine and no honor and no dignity, contrary to Candace. And for me, the clincher was when she said after the movie, wasn't it Bombshell or something? I forget. But the movie that was made about her case against Roger Ailes, that any woman would have sex with her boss because she wanted to be on TV. Are you kidding? I've been living in you know, in shitholes since I've been back in DC. I keep on getting fired from my job because I won't sleep with the boss and I won't drink or pass out Kool-Aid. I won't be a whore. And we've got enough of those in Washington and this country. And all of this greed and everybody who will sell themselves for a whistle and a song has got to stop. This is why Trump is getting away with what he's getting away with. My new motto, this comes from Valhalla. Unfortunately, the live stream was shut down and the chat he lost the chat, but the guy in the chat said, "You misunderstood. Trump said no more whores, not no more wars." And I get a laugh out of that one, and we all say, but he didn't make good on either, because we got more whores and more wars. No more whores and no more wars. That's the new motto. Nancy Reagan was just say no to drugs. Mine is just say no to the whores and just say no to the wars. So, okay, that's it for this evening. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.